A great day in SimWorld, everybody. Good morning and welcome to SimWorld Today. I'm B-Ron, and as always, alongside me is my co-host Yells. Good morning, man. Well, how you doing? What's going on?
I'm good. I got that quick flight, got some quick travel going on today. So today, as I used to tell the young ladies in the past, I'm here for a good time, not for a long time. Let's do it, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, let's jump right on into things, shall we? Pierre Dupont. He has decided to go back to SimWorld Africa during the whole recruiting process, coming and create all that business. Um, Did he make the right choice by going back there? I think personally, yes, he absolutely did. Especially given, he's from Louisiana, and we know how the whole Gulf Coast lockdown situation kind of started and ended with Coach Hyman leaving, and then Coach Heath coming in, taking over, and that whole thing that went down there early on too. So maybe that was a part of his decision to return to Smart Africa, seeing all of the hubbub go down over there. But I also think that him going back there was the right choice, purely from a familiarity. Um, Familiarity standpoint with the team and the area that he's in, that kind of stuff, and the pride that he has in playing for Africa.
I think that's the big key for me is the fact that he really wanted to play there. When he first came SimWorld Prep, there was a bit of talk about this young guy stateside saying, "Hey, I'm going to play for the motherland. I'm going to
Yeah,
play for
right.
the motherland," and he's leaving his area in contrast to some other things that we've seen. But he said he wanted to put the region, not put the region on the map, but help support basketball in the region, and that he had family there. So that was a huge deal. So seeing the pride that he's taken in going back there, I think is huge. Whatever the reasons are that he did not want to or chose not to head to Gulf Coast, maybe we can get him on at some point in time and find out.
Yeah,
I think that's behind. I would have loved to see him playing Nowlands, some hometown kid getting some love
good.
there. But
Yeah,
I think he made a move that's great for SimWorld Africa, not just himself, but SimWorld Africa looks like a team this year, by all accounts, from what I've seen. You got him there. You still got Amara Afu there, Kola Abdul Rauf, who's going to be absolutely a guy. You brought in Ethan Letterman, and then there's Jordan Kasau. Who I think we'll see a bit from. And then there's this young kid from Nigeria that people have been talking about, Alhaji Mo Osborne. Hopefully I'm saying that right. They have a solid base. I think he's going to be a a centerpiece for this team, and I think that may have been a factor that played into, maybe he wasn't sure what his role would be with Gulf Coast, but clearly there's some trust and there's a good relationship he has there with Coach Adebayo. So I think it's good, man. I think on some of our previous shows we've talked about kids leaving international waters to come stateside, and we know how I
right.
feel
Yeah,
about that. But seeing the inverse of it, I think is big because I think that really shows that there is another side to it, and I'm all
yeah,
for it.
yeah. I feel like the inverse of it I like more than the other side of it. And I think purely because again in Dupont's case, he has family over there that's on that side of the world, and as a I don't want to get all like deep philosophical this morning, but as a African American, that is something that we should take pride in some respects. So for that side of things, yes, I do think that that's a good idea for that reason alone. I feel like
Yeah, I mean, even that aside, just kind of
right.
supporting your nation. That's the thing. That's what the Olympics are all about, right? So I think it's a big deal that he did so. And excuse me, I think it's a big deal that he did so, and I think it could set a standard down the road.
Yep,
But
very much so.
also, he's going to look really good on this team. Basketball wise, he looked really good on this team last year. He kind of exploded onto the scene. He got lots of opportunities down low. We know Africa is known for developing players with some kind of post game. This kid's 6'6", 206. He looks a lot bigger than that, in my opinion, at least weight wise. And he showed postability, and he's in the area where that is developed. So he's there again, and I think it's going to be great for this team and great for him.
Yeah, so do I. I definitely think it'll be good for him and see how he grows this season. But we have a guest joining us this morning. We have Tennessee's Mr. Basketball and the one of the new members of Southeast Select, Dexter Jackson. Good morning, young man. How you doing? Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Hey, how are you guys?
We're
Hey,
good.
good morning.
We're
Good
good. Where you
morning. We're
calling
doing
in
good.
from, man? Uh
Did we
oh.
lose you?
Did we lose Dexter? You there with us, Dexter?
I'm here. I'm headed to school right now.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
well, be safe. Make sure you got that on the hands free for us right now. We don't need any problems.
Yeah.
SimWorld
Yeah. Most
today is not legally liable.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So look, let's just jump right into some of these questions we got here for you. The first one I got here is it's a pretty easy one. Softball get started. What led you to committing to Southeast Select? We know you're from Tennessee. They play in Memphis. Was that the biggest thing, or how did it all come about? If you don't mind sharing a little bit of insight.
Yeah, that was probably the biggest thing, staying close to home. Um, and really, honestly, I really wasn't recruited that much, which blew my mind. But they reached out, and it was a good fit.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
hey, I mean, home court advantage always has home. That's why it's called advantage, home court advantage. So I anticipated that you would land there anyhow when recruiting opened up, and there you did. What is your relationship with Gabe Pope been like? He's clearly a vocal leader for this team. He was last season, but what is your relationship with Gabe Pope been like?
It's great. His practice is fun. I'm learning a lot from him. He's definitely making me a better player and somebody to, look up to.
A lot of lot
That
of
is.
lot of Puerto Rican pride on this team too. a lot of
Yeah.
Go ahead, B Run. I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. No, no, you're fine. You're fine. So you used to play baseball, which is my favorite sport, but switching from baseball to basketball, what do you feel like are some transferable skills from baseball to basketball?
You know, Obviously, uh, just smart, knowing what you got to do with the ball. Like in baseball, you got to know where the out's going to be. Basketball, you got to look for the open guy, watch the court, keep your head up.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
IQ.
makes sense.
A lot of IQ is going to be
Yes,
there.
exactly.
Baseball is a cerebral sport. I don't think basketball is given enough credit for how cerebral it is nowadays, just because people see all the dribbles and the step backs, right? I guess there's no logic to that anymore, but there is. There's a logic to winning. I got a question for you, Dexter. So, talking about winning, talking about I'm just gonna dive right into it here. You guys no longer have one of the most talked about players in the short SimWorld prep history, which is Trey Turner. And there's been a lot said about what this team can and cannot do. You've been live there in the scrimmages. You've been there in the practices. This team had a very particular identity that was ingrained around Trey Turner for 2 seasons. He's no longer here. What is this team all about, and what is the goal aside from just winning a championship? Is there a chip on you guys' shoulder, and what's the identity for this team coming into the season?
You know, um, Really, it's still a defense first, always, and just team play. Really, there was a lot said about what I said about Trey Turner, and it got blew out of context. But he is a legend. But at the same time, we've got our own great players now here playing, and I just want people to realize that. I know he is a big loss, but I'm trying to bring a swagger back to the team that hey, we're still here. We're playing. We're gonna give you a fight night in, night out.
Yeah. Does the team
Okay.
feel disrespected by that, or is what is Coach Lee's kind of approach with all of that? You guys feel slighted, like hey, we got to go out and prove it, or is it just a hey, let's do it for Trey Turner?
Um, you know, Personally, I feel slighted, but as a team, I say we just try to block all that noise out and go about our business, focus on the task at hand, and go out there and play our game.
All right.
That's good. I like it. Yeah, it's so funny. We were on the same wavelength because I had a very similar question for my last one here. I was gonna ask, you've been pretty outspoken about the change in tide with no more, Trey Turner on the team. I was gonna ask you what, what would you say to who think y'all are gonna struggle this season? But I want
No,
to try.
no, no. That's a direct question. Let's hear it. Let's
Okay,
hear it, Dexter.
okay, okay, yeah, yeah.
Let's hear it.
Let me ask the whole thing better. So I had to have it fully here. You've been pretty outspoken about the change in tide with no more Trey Turner on the team this season. What do you say to those people who think you all will struggle this season because of the hole he has left?
Just you'll see. I mean, we're gonna go out and play our game. Personally, I believe we'll probably struggle somewhat, but not as bad as what some people are saying. I'm trying to get confidence in our team to have confidence in ourselves. I mean, we can't go out there thinking that we're going to lose because we lost one person. I mean, it's a team game. So that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, and Coach Lee very much so pushes the team game. We've seen that. The funny thing is, in the past 2 seasons, it's going to sound like a total contradiction, but past 2 seasons, all the talk when you talk Southeast Select, you talk about Trey Turner. For the past 2 seasons, anyhow.
Yeah,
Gabe Pope is right there in his defense. Occasionally, we talk about the big 7-footers that you guys had, and again, right in that same realm with Brick, Keandre, and Kadarius. But the talk was Trey Turner. But in reality, in the game, it was defense and it was team basketball. Trey showed up in the points that he needed to in the first, in the fourth, and then for clutch buckets. So definitely a team first mentality. My question for you, Dexter, is there is a new identity that needs to be forged. And I kind of asked earlier, but there's a new identity. You did say it's going to be defense first, but on the offensive side of it, that is a lot of offensive output, and it was built around spacing and shooting. We see that you can get to the basket. I've seen that your ability to get to the basket is I'm a big fan of. That's my kind of game there. Gabe Pope has shown some great jumps there, and you guys have brought in Olvin Corballo. Who can, I mean, he can go get his own buckets there. You guys got guys like Jeremiah Dishman, Taylor Genevieve, and Breck Backer, these young kids that have joined here recently. Outside of yourself, Gabe, and Olvin, is there anybody else you're expecting to make a jump, or is it just going to be balanced across the board?
I think it'll be balanced across the board, honestly. Um, you never know who's going to get the ball, in the clutch moments. It might be me, it might be Gabe. I mean, it's just somebody you're going to have to watch out for everybody, I believe. We got a bunch of, shooters on the team.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. And you got some big guys there, too. You got some big,
yeah,
tall kids.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, they'll clean up down low and do what they need to do, the dirty work.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, and we love that. So does Maestro. So I'm sure he'll be shouting y'all out when y'all get to that point, the dirty dirties and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, look, that was all the questions that I had, y'all. Did you have any final ones for Dexter?
I had nothing. You know, we wanted to get straight to the Trey Turner stuff. You've cleared
Yeah,
that up for us. We appreciate
yeah.
it. You got any shout outs or anything you want to get out before you head into school this morning, Dexter?
Shout out to my team, Southwest Select, Gabe, everybody. And just y'all be ready for us.
All right.
Hey, we're looking forward to it, Dexter. Thank you for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good one.
All right, thank you guys. You too.
All
You're
right.
welcome.
Good kid. I'm glad he could clear that up with
Yep.
the Trey Turner deal. I wish him luck. I'm gonna say this: he cleared that up, but he's going to clear up that team name because he called them Southwest Select, and I don't know how many wins Southwest Select is going to get this year. Hopefully, Southeast gets on the board.
Yeah, hopefully so, man. Hey, look, we talked about Jay Turner a minute ago. Let's talk about Jafet Towns.
Ooh.
We talked about him yesterday with the Kevon Jackson thing and all of that, but I want to make the switch and look ahead for Jafet Towns after SimWorld Prep.
Okay.
We saw yesterday there was some news about his college options getting out. He had UNLV on there, apparently Missouri, and he was interested. He went to Columbia for a visit or something like that.
It's
Um,
crazy.
yeah. So are you surprised that you didn't that in that tweet there wasn't a mention of another bigger school? Because Missouri plays an SEC and they're a big school. But I would, when you talk about the big college school, you talk about Kentucky, Kansas, those kinds of schools that come to mind. Are you surprised any of those schools weren't in that initial tweet that went out yesterday, or do you think it was just a matter of like them holding those things back for now?
I don't think we ever
As they,
hear everything all at once. So
yeah,
I'm pretty sure those kids are looking at one of the top five kids in the world right now. So
yeah,
I'm not really shocked. What we do know about Jafet is that he is a smart kid. He's really into the academic side of things. So the Columbia one, and me saying wow about it is one thing, but I'm not totally shocked because he's really big in academics. I think he was like a big time chess player or something. I don't recall, but I think he won like a state or some kind of regional championship. So no, the UNLV one, Mizzou, yeah, those are kind of mind boggling for me a little bit. But I am more than certain that some other schools are interested in this kid. How could they not be? So I think time will tell. We'll hear more, and I wouldn't be shocked to see if he ends up on the same team as some of the other SimWorld Prep alumni, because we've seen some crazy commitments already.
yeah. And look, you mentioned the Columbia thing a minute ago, and that's the one that kind of sticks out to me the most. And I say that because that's not somewhere I was expecting to hear from a player of Towns' caliber. That's no no slight to Columbia or anything like that. But I think that when you talk about a player like Jafet, again, you think about the bigger schools. So if he pulls a D Woodley, for example, and goes to a school that you don't think a player of his caliber would go to, that would be fun. And that'd be fun to kind of see how that plays out for him, and not only, uh basketball wise, but otherwise too. Because I mentioned it when the news broke yesterday. I said, hey, maybe he has other things in mind. Maybe there's backup plans in mind, which is a good thing to have, I would say. As an athlete, you need to have as a young athlete, you need to have those
Yeah,
as a backup plan because anything can happen.
anything can happen. You got to have a backup plan for your backup plan to back up your backup plan. That
Yeah, right.
is what you have to do. Shout out to Sir Lucius Left Foot, big boy, if y'all don't know who that is. But yeah, Javette Towns, he's going to be just fine. I'm not concerned that that's what we're hearing about Columbia, UNLV, and Mizzou. I'm sure there's more. There will be more stories to be heard. But I also wouldn't be shocked if he ended up at a Columbia. Nope.
Yeah, absolutely not.
No, not at all. So, look, B-Ron, I told you, man, I got to hop this flight. So,
Yeah.
I gotta hop this flight, so we're gonna get in here. Promotions are in order. Who do you think? I kind of talked about this with Dexter Jackson for Southeast Select. I threw it out there, but who do you think from these teams, kind of like in a secondary role, or maybe not even in a leading role of any kind. Who do you
Yeah.
think may make a leading man jump for any of these teams that could this season where they can kind of step into the spotlight?
Okay, I like that. I like this. So in putting my list together, I realized all of my options here are from the international side of things here in SimWorld Prep, which is kind of funny that how that worked out. But I tried to focus on players who were returning to a team. So this won't be like a Kevon Jackson or something like that, or Bernard James, because that's number one. That's how that works for them. But anyway, I have Pierre Dupont as mine. No more Aji Bentley being in Africa. He was that leading man last season for them, last two for them. I think Pierre's going to take that step this season. For South America, I have uh, Alderson Sampaio from South America. Again, with they lost a lot. They lost uh, I'm sorry, Patricio Ramirez last season. He led the team in scoring, that kind of stuff. I feel like Sampaio's gonna he was second in that category. I think he's gonna take that next jump. And then for SimWorld Atlantis, Nathaniel Zilberman, I think he gets forgotten about at times. In that in on that team and in that region of players. I feel like he's one that's along with Letterman, Klum, a lot of the shooters that came out of that European Middle East region. I feel like he's one that could take a big jump this coming season for SimWorld Atlantis. So those are my three. How about you? What you got?
Well, I'm gonna start with South America. It's funny you brought them up. I got a chance to look at some footage here, and Tyler Montalvin, big 6'10", 210 kid out of Dallas, Texas, was going all the way out of state, or excuse me, out of country to play for South America. Another one of those moves that we talked, like we talked about with Pierre Dupont. We talk a lot about numbers and we talk a lot about wins, but it's about winning plays. Do you make plays that lead to wins? And what I've seen in the footage is this guy making winning plays, which have also, by default, playing on a team like South America, have led to numbers. I think Addison Sampaio, who you mentioned, along with Eric Banks, are going to put Tyler, and Tyler's going to put himself in great position to very well fill the hole in the void left by oh my
Patricio
God,
Ramirez?
Patricio, excuse me, yeah. So I don't think he's as athletic and all of that, but his IQ is off the charts. So that I have him there. I got Showtime basketball. I think Cole Webb is probably going to figure it out at some point, but it depends on where he's played. If he continues to play in a ball handling role for Showtime, I think there'll be some challenges there. Mr. Consistency on that team to me is Israel Vines, and I think he's going to be forced into. Yeah,
He was in mine at first. Go ahead.
I think he's going to be forced into more of a focal point role with this team than he had been in the last season or two. So I see Israel Vines making a big jump there. And then lastly but not least, there's not a lot of talk about the Heartland Zombie Stars. They got two guys, Bernard James and Jaquan Johnson. And we hear a lot about them when this team has spoken because they've talked a lot about themselves in the past. But I'm going Deontay Hilario.
Okay.
I've seen some stuff from this kid, and his game is so fluid, and it's so mature and developed to be 16 years old at the prep level. His game inside the paint reminds me a lot of DeMar DeRozan. Don't at me. Go ahead and at me. It don't matter. Deontay Hilario. Of the Hilario three, I like Deontay's game. I like them all, but I think he could end up in a conversation or two by the time the season ends.
Okay, I like that. I had another one on my list that I had taken off for a specific reason, but I had Justin Bell on here originally, and you might think, hey, that's kind of crazy because Bell was the leading was one of the guys who took a lot last season, but last season they did it by committee, and it's like every game was somebody different for Rocky Mountain. But for the reason why I had him on originally but took him off, I had him on because I felt like this season was going to be where he takes a bigger leap to kind of put himself above a lot of the other players that are on that team, because again, they still have Lucas Banks, Dane Davis. Those were two of the four kids last season that they had averaging double-digit points.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, I had him on, took him off, but Justin Bell was another one that I had on my list.
Yeah. Special shout out, Ivan Suslav. I got some tape of him. We're all talking about the big man, Andrei Ivanov. Europe could get a little scary because this other kid's 6'10", 220, and he was going toe-to-toe with Ivanov, Ivan Suslav kid. That could be pretty scary, so big shout out to him. I got to see more footage to see if it's consistent, but beware, guys. Shout out to him, and then shout out to Big Shot Bog, Samuel Bog. He will be in a leading role for Bad Boys basketball, no doubt. He probably should have been on my top 3 list as naming, but he's definitely going to see an uptick in production and a major one as I look up and down that roster.
He was another one that I had too. But look, enough about that. We got to get out of here. Y'all's gonna fight to catch up. Let's go. Y'all have a good one. Thank you for joining us today. Again, Dexter Jackson. Thank you for joining us as well.
Dexter
See y'all tomorrow for the Wednesday episode of SimWorld today. And until then, you guys remember, SimWorld is the only place you can see the game, be the game. We'll see you tomorrow.
This has been a presentation of SimWorld